Happy to be joined by Matt Mascona. He is the host upon Further Review, 3 to 6 Central Time there in ESPN New Orleans and Baton Rouge. Matt, we've kind of dragged you through a lot of subjects here, so we appreciate the time. One other thing is just what you just alluded to, the somewhat decline of the SEC. So if you look at the numbers of the incoming classes out of high school football, the SEC completely obliterates the other conferences in regards to 4- and 5-star recruits. And then 3 or 4 years later, we see them come out the other side to the NFL. And again, they triple, quadruple the other conferences in regards to high selections in the NFL draft. But in between, the production on the field hasn't been quite as dominant. No, there's not been a conference to clearly exceed the SEC. The ACC, not just Clemson winning the national championship, but the entire conference performed extremely well in postseason play. And the Big Ten, as you mentioned, in the Eastern Division looks primed to be very strong for a number of years. So what do you think is reality versus perception in terms of SEC's caliber of play recently?
I think it's the Alabama effect. I think you have had extremely successful coaches that have not been able to match the success that Alabama has had under Nick Saban. And you've had administrators that have reacted to that and replaced extremely successful coaches with guys that they hope are the next best thing. It happened at Georgia. It happened at LSU. Obviously at South Carolina, where Steve Spurrier lost pace and they replaced him with Will Muschamp, who has sort of a spotty track record as a head coach. And I don't know, Mark, that it really is going to change for the better in the SEC until this run that Alabama is on ends and the door is open for somebody else to start winning at an elite level. Because as long as Nick Saban is there and everybody's chasing him, nobody is going to beat him and nobody's going to beat him consistently. So as long as he's there, there is a glass ceiling on the rest of the SEC. And if these administrators keep reacting so abruptly to it and firing good coaches, then you're going to continue chasing your tail as a conference while others are continuing to make progress. The talent's there. There's no doubt about it. But I don't think the coaching and the quarterback play is there outside of Alabama, and it's evident that's what is going to win national championships. And right now, nobody else in the SEC has it, at least hasn't had it as consistently as Alabama.
And basically, Matt, what backs up what you just said is the results of the 2016 season. So what we're used to seeing in the SEC is that Alabama's out in front. And not that long ago, Auburn was right there going to a national championship game, LSU as well. But there were 3 or 4 other teams stockpiled in the top 10 in the nation consistently week to week from the SEC. The SEC was making up half of the top 10 teams in the nation. But last year, they all beat up on each other. So you had a bunch of 8 and 4 teams. And Auburn got the 2 seed in the bowl rankings and went to the Sugar Bowl. And they went 5 and 3 in the SEC and lost 5 games overall. And they were the 2 seed going to the Sugar Bowl. So almost the depth of the SEC, the strength of the conference and how deep it is almost hurts it to a certain extent. Matt Mascona joining us from Upon Further Review. That's his show on ESPN Baton Rouge and ESPN New Orleans, weekdays 3 to 6 Central Time, talking college football. And obviously you need to join us each and every day as we get you set for 2017 right here at Mark Rogers TV.